one.
It's not just a show, it's a journey we share. We're boldly trekking full of cheer. It's not just a show, it's a journey we share. We're boldly trekking full of cheer. Boldly trekking full of cheer.
All right, we're live. So no more of your homophobic comments because I can't edit those out of a live podcast. And this is how I get people in trouble.
What?
Why? I'm getting rid of a lot of streaming services and I just need a way to entertain myself.
Well, there's this thing about sheep and minefields. I guess you could do that too.
Really? Because the only ones I know are something about Scotsmen and Velcro gloves. That's all I know about sheep.
Oh.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Boldly Trekking. We are trekking boldly through the realm of Star Trek fandom and canon and curios and words like that. How you doing, Seanorific Sean?
I'm doing excellent. So, Mr. Awesome Ash.
Yeah, not just an asshole. I'm a whole ash.
Had a pretty good week of it. Had a pretty awesome time with trying to get stuff done. And managed to get my car totally up to snuff. So I feel very happy about that. And
what did you have to repair? I forgot to ask you.
I had to go ahead and have the brakes checked out, and I also had to go ahead and make sure that basically just, overall maintenance, just doing it the way I normally do.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's what the book says. The book gives you a maintenance schedule. You got to stick to it if you want the vehicle to last.
Yeah.
And that's the reason my vehicles last as long as they do. I mean, they usually last until somebody else
wrecks them for you,
crashes into them, and then I have to get another one.
Yeah. But yeah, the funny part was that there's a turn indicator bulb on the top of the headlight. And I told them in the instructions that the turn indicator bulb was out. So they kept replacing the headlight.
No.
It's the turn indicator bulb.
Well, unless it's built into the headlight, but I don't think it is on that model.
No, it's a separate bulb. They have a separate piece. So I was like, see, the instructions right here. It says turn indicator bulb.
So I'm not paying for that headlight. Have a good day.
Yeah, exactly. So
I know that I need to get the on my vehicle. I've got a idiot light pop up on the dash for tire pressure, but the tire pressure is just fine in the tires. I believe after almost 10 years now, the tire pressure TPMS, the tire pressure management sensors, are going out inside the tires because they're just battery operated. Mm-hmm. And so I need to find a place that will replace them for me. But the thing is that I can't just go to because I will order my own TPMS sensors. Mm-hmm. And if I do that, I can get a set of 4 of them for like $24 off of Rock Auto. But I don't want to, take off the tires, take the tires off the rims, swap them out, do all this stuff like that. I got to get somebody else to do that. And most auto places want you to use their sensors, which they charge $75 a piece for, not including the labor on doing the tire thing. So I have a tire place that should be able to do it. Probably only cost me like $20 a tire to have it done. If I provide the sensors, they don't care. It's a used tire kind of place.
Okay.
Where, and so they'll do stuff like that, no problem. It probably cost me like $20.
Getting it fixed is all they care about. They don't want to.
Yeah, they're perfectly fine doing stuff like that. I think the only thing that might run up the price a little bit is if I have to have the tires rebalanced after they put those on. Shouldn't have to, but I might have to. But anyways, that has nothing whatsoever to do with Star Trek.
Nope.
But this is a cool thing that you might like. You know that Orville I did? For those who don't know, I 3D printed off of Gambody their 32-inch long Orville and did a basic paint job on it. As I like to put it, it's a 10-foot model, looks good from 10 feet away. And I have no place to put it in the house. And Jessica was getting a little tired of it, sitting on the dining room table. So I went to our friends at the Burrow, and we were there last night and just talking to them, and I mentioned that I had it. They had an empty space up on the wall if they wanted it, and they were like, oh, heck yeah. So I dropped it off to them this morning, and hopefully my my Orville might be mounted up as one of their display items up on the wall here soon. So that'll be cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that gives me room to work on the ship from the black hole, which is 48 inches long.
So are you going to have the meteor that comes through the ship and causes massive destruction?
No. I like my ships pretty. I don't like battle damage, but I will be lighting this one, so it's all going to be lit from the inside. It's going to look really pretty. Yeah, and it's really. Yeah, I could pull out a couple pieces and show you, but I'm not going to. It's going to look really good. It's going to be one that I'm just doing in the background. It's not going to be my main concentration. My main concentration right now is getting back into getting this 1/6 done, the TOS Enterprise, and I finally got the jewel lights that I'm using for the Bassard collectors all done and wired up and trimmed down so they'll fit inside the Bassards. And now that I've got that done, now I I went ahead, took all the parts, scrubbed them down with steel wool, because you have to do that to rough them up for better paint adhesion. And then I took them to the sink and washed them all in warm, soapy water in order to get off any of the oils from the mold releases that they have, and get them all prepped up. So now what I need to do, because I plan on doing all this with a lot of Raytheon lighting, where it's lit from the inside, and instead of cutting windows, I just choose spots that I don't put light block on the inside so that those will light up. And so I'm going to do that for the windows. So now I need to go through and create light masks for each of the windows that I want to light up from the inside and from the outside. That way I can set that up properly and not put any light block on the inside in those spots and not put any primer on the outside on those spots. So it'll just be the paint over the top of it, and that way when I light it up from the inside, it'll light up and look all pretty. Or so I'm told. We're experimenting. I feel like I'm back in college. I'm experimenting.
Well, as long as they don't tell you, you'll feel a slight pressure, and then all of a sudden you feel something else.
No.
Or you hear.
But other than that,
hi, my name's Bob.
Yeah. No, I wasn't on the plane with Trump. There was no Bubba there. Oops, did I say that? But other than that, how's it going with you?
Well, I would say that everything is going pretty swimmingly. I actually would love to say that we were already launched, which we were discussing before the show. So if anybody from Starfleet is listening, go ahead.
By what he means by already launched, for those who do not know, his Star Trek fan club, for those who don't know, Star Trek fan clubs are organized in ships because, yay, Star Trek. And his one that he wants to start off is waiting for approval from the official Star Trek fan club association, International Star Trek. International, what is it? International?
It's Starfleet International Fan Club Association. Star Trek Fan Club Association. It's a long thing.
Yeah, it's very long. It's like a tan snaffle. You have to abbreviate that. You know what tan snaffle is, or don't you?
Yeah. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Rock on, Robert Heinlein. The moon is a harsh mistress. But, so he is waiting and has been waiting for several months now. We will not get into the gripe of it, which I would lead the charge on that one because I'm a schmuck. But he's been waiting several months for the higher-ups to go ahead and rubber stamp his fan club, and hopefully they've started getting through their backlog. And you said you have 2 more ships ahead of you before you get approved?
Yep. So that's all I'm waiting for, just to see them get out the door. Or out the dry dock.
Yeah, just smack the champagne bottle against the hull and get it going. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, Shatner, get out there and take that wine and your champagne, toss it against the hull, and be done with it.
Throw the bottle. Which movie was it with the bottle tumbling over and over and over?
That was Generations.
Yeah, it was Generations. Yeah.
Because they chopped up the opening. Because originally what it was is that James T. Kirk was supposed to be spacewalking and doing a space dive thing. That's why he's wearing the ablative suit in some of the photos that you don't get to see in the movie. Mm-hmm. But he throws the bottle at the Enterprise B. And, it doesn't have a lot of explanation.
You would think by that time they would just have the official muckety-muck launching shuttle that would have like a tube out the front that you just load, like a little airlock. Just load the champagne bottle in, you point the shuttle, and then you just hit the button, and it just explosively decompresses that and just shoots the bottle out. I mean, if it was me, by that point,
I could actually see a funny scene where the guy has loaded the champagne into the launcher, and it's nominally, supposed to be launched like you're describing, but instead of doing that, he actually loads it as the photon torpedo, so it actually goes down and launches out at high speed and crashes into the hull. And he goes,
what I'm seeing is, the big beautiful ones you get the champagne bottle for, but by the time you get all the way down that you're launching the Grissoms and the Archers, all right, they fire it and all you see coming out of there is just a White Claw can, all right, and maybe like PBR flies out. That's what I'm saying.
I was just amusing myself with the idea of the guy having to buff out the dent in the hull after he launched it at high speed.
Dude, okay. So as we all know, longevity gives legitimacy to things. All right. The longer it's been around, the more legitimized it is. What if by the 2300s, White Claw has been around so long, it is the Dom Perignon that they launch out? What if it's Dom White Claw? All right. Claw Perignon. That's what I'm saying.
It will never be Milwaukee's Beast.
Claw, it's just sparkling, sparkling monster.
The one thing that will never be Dom Perignon or even close will be Milwaukee's Beast, because Milwaukee's Beast, even after 3 centuries, they'll still be Milwaukee's Beast.
All I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure that the Klingon vessels are launched with Mad Dog 2020. That's all I'm saying.
Or Red Dog. One of the two.
Or what?
Red Dog.
Or Red Dog? No. What's Red Dog?
Or Red Eye is what I was trying to say.
Oh, Red Eye. No, there's got to be. Oh God, they'd be launched with prune juice. I take it back. Never mind.
Cans of Dr. Pepper.
There you go. Yeah, because it's got prune juice in it. That would be their White Claw. That's a whole thing that we need to explore. Yeah. How the first Earth thing that takes off on Kronos is Dr. Pepper, and it's an alcoholic beverage. I can see it now. There's yeah. All right, I'm seeing it. I'm
going to have to do an ad for that now. I'm going to have to go ahead and figure out how it would be pronounced and spelled in Klingon. Do the glyphs for it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Could you see the commercials? just Klingons jumping up in the air. Kapla!
Crushing it in their hand as they finish it and tossing it over their head.
Let's make sure we're not having anything coming in here. All right. But anyways, so yeah, there's not a lot new has been given to us since last week when we spoke. There's still, the scuttlebutt of things changing in the Trekverse.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Jonathan Frakes came out and said that the Academy, they're going to be going more lighthearted with it and moving away from the dark stuff that Discovery had. And so that might be kind of refreshing.
So no summoning Cthulhu or...
if they do it humorously, I mean, if it ends in, like some kind of hentai thing, maybe, I don't know. All right.
Eldritch Terror stalks the halls of Starfleet Academy on the next Starfleet Academy.
But only if they're able to stop them with Mentos. That's all I'm saying.
And then it launches into a commercial for Mentos right after.
Yeah, exactly. No, so yeah, that was one of the things that news-wise that came up. Let me see. Starfleet Academy is positioned as a fun, adventurous path for Star Trek, with Frakes talking up its lighter tone and naming Paul Giamatti as a major cast asset, which Giamatti can do some good humor. This suggests Trek is consciously leaning into its more upbeat, optimistic roots rather than only darker, grittier sci-fi. So that's good. Although one thing that does interest me, and it should interest you as well, Sean, being because I like building models and you like designing them. Mm-hmm. Is that the new Trek, that is supposedly coming out afterwards. Because as we know, the studio is going towards a new Trek where they're going legacy light, which means fresh faces, different stories. They're going to be concentrating on other things. That this may lead to a design shift in some of the ships that we'll be seeing. So this may lead to more and different ships because, let's face it, one of the things that I was, I love Trek. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Trekkie. I love my Treks. I'm a Trekker, Trekkie, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Kiss my tuchus. Is that the ships, there's not a lot of derivation in design. I mean, they find something that they like, and then they just very lightly move away from it. I mean, once they found the bird of prey, it seems like, oh no, didn't we tell you the bird of prey was all over the place? I don't know why you didn't see it before. It was bird of prey, bird of prey, bird of prey, and D7. What was that? I don't know. And so yeah, they do that, and then everything has that disc shape except for like what was it, the not the Dauntless, the Daedalus.
Yeah, well, the Dauntless was actually one.
The Daedalus. I'm talking about the one with the big ball on the front.
Oh, that's the Daedalus. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, the Daedalus.
Yeah.
I mean, but everything else that is Starfleet is your basic, tuna cell, and then your disc coming out. And
or arrow.
It's so much so that if you ever, and you have, Sean, but if for those listening, if you've ever gotten into FASA and, all the ships that they had to do their Starfleet battles and stuff like that, man, it was just like they just took the same parts and just shifted them, just a little bit each time and just moved things around. There was not a lot of innovation going on there. And I would like to see that. I would like to see some new types of ships, because as we have discussed before, there's a whole world, a whole, galaxy of different things that they've never truly explored. That is all part of their IP.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, when you said the thing about there's not much variation, or there's a lot of bird of prey, bird of prey, bird of prey. It's reminded me of the whole Demolition Man line. All restaurants are Taco Bell.
Very much so.
All Klingon vessels are birds of prey.
Yeah, they did. They did. They went. I mean, basically, by the time you hit DS9 and stuff like that, it was either bird of prey or you had the Vorcha.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, and the bird of prey, depending on what they were using it for, shrank and grew in size.
Yeah, they actually did talk about that.
Yeah,
several episodes. They actually, in Lower Decks, the thing I loved in Lower Decks was they actually had the little bitty bird of prey and they had the bigger bird of prey. And I think in Deep Space Nine, they kind of played with it too. Because, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's kind of silly because once you get to a bird of prey that's basically the size of the Galaxy class, which some of them were getting close to, there's no way they could land.
One of them was 542 meters across, from what I remember.
Yeah,
so its wingspan is huge. I mean, it's like, the body is like 400 meters long, and wingspan is like 582 or something. So
it was just silly. It was silly.
I mean, the cannons themselves would be the size of the Grissom.
The cannons would basically be the size of the Galaxy class nacelles.
Yeah. But can you imagine what the captain would have said in Star Trek 3 if the bird of prey had decloaked and it was that big and it had a cannon the size of the Grissom? It would have been not only, oh my God, it's like...
Yeah. Like, oh, shit. And just... They probably wouldn't even... I mean, the amount of power it would take to fire that one cannon, they probably said, just open up an airlock and shoot off a disruptor. All right? That's how we're going to take out the Grissom. It's got the reactive armor on it. I mean, that was the problem. Is I often believe is when it was in the design phase and they said put reactive armor on it, somebody messed up and thought that they said build it out of reactive armor, and that's the reason the whole thing just goes kablooey
every single time. I mean, it's not like
yeah.
Not
I personally
like
think they should have
like they
should have built it out of that. Oh yeah, they should have built it out of that blast door from Strange New Worlds, or from Man, if they just built it out of that blast door, then it would have survived anything.
Maybe they have escape pods that are made out of the blast door. Maybe that's how.
Oh, they got to have something, man. That blast door, that is. I mean, what is that? Pure neutronium? How the hell did it handle that blast?
It just brushes off matter antimatter explosion. Hey,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm here.
What is that? What is it made out of? Mjolnir? What the hell?
Hey, if you could make a starship where all the compartments were built like that, you'd never ever have to worry about. I mean, you'd never ever have to worry about even the warp core going, because the warp core.
Your main weapon would be ramming speed. Yeah. All right, that's all you'd have to do. It would be like that one. I mean, I got to give props to Star Wars in this matter. When it came to, I don't remember if it was the Rebel one where they stole the plans or what. But they had that one. They had that one starship that would come in and literally just ram. Yeah, the Hammerhead one that would ram the Star Destroyers and then just pour on the juice and just nail them. That's good design right there. That ship was built out of blast doors. That's all I'm saying.
Actually, I think they borrowed. Actually, that was in Rogue One, but I think the idea came from Rebels.
Rogue One, that was it. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing it before, but never seeing it utilized.
Yeah.
In Rogue One is the first time I ever saw it utilized for that intended purpose.
Yeah, I think they did it in Rebels as well. I think they preceded Rogue One, and I think that's where they got the idea. But I could be wrong, but I think that's where it came from. But yeah, it's exactly the design of what it was for, I think.
Yeah.
Like, we're not actually here to do anything to shoot. We're just here to push you into things.
Yeah. And you don't bother trying to shoot us. We're made out of blast doors. You can't take us out.
It's like, those rebels, they can't shoot for damn, but they can ram you and knock you into things.
You know what? That's all it takes. One or the other.
Well, this leads to a discussion point with my number one, where we were discussing, it's like the whole thing. You get Star Wars fans, you get Star Trek fans, and you get a bunch of stormtroopers, and you get a bunch of red shirts, and stormtroopers can't hit the broadside of a barn, but the red shirts still die.
Yeah, they'll die anyway. They'll die anyway. All right, and you got to be short for a stormtrooper too.
Yeah,
but no, so it'll be interesting to see, because if they are pulling it back to the TOS era,
all
right, if they're pulling it back to the TOS era. And which it sounds like they're going to, but they're going to do, the TOS adjacent storylines.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Which, I really think that they should take it all the way back to the Klingon 4-year war, the Axanar conflict, but do it right. Mm-hmm. Don't do it like, frickin' Strange New Worlds has and stuff like that.
Here's 4 episodes for you, and then we're going to change you over to this universe, and we're going to come be back. So you're confused now. Yeah, it's all over the place. It is all over the place. And matter of fact, I just tried, getting back, because I'm halfway through season 3, I think it is, of Discovery. Mm-hmm. Have you had you've had the ice fungus that eats Discovery almost, right? I mean, I've had that one. Yeah. No, I'm on season 4. I'm on episode 8. I'm on episode 8 of season 4. All right. And it's difficult to watch. It is so difficult to watch. And literally, once again, and I do not, make this up. I am not exaggerating. Once again, she said the word that I hate for her to say. Trust. Why do you think such a... Because I trust. All right. And then what I liked is the guy she was talking to looked at her and said, yeah, how well has that done so far? But yeah, it's difficult to watch, but I got to push through it because I got to get through Picard. That way I will be all caught up before season 4 of Strange New Worlds comes out. Mm-hmm. And I get to see the Muppet Trek. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Hey, you know what? I like when they have fun. I mean, come on. Deanna Troi was a cake at one point. All right? Yeah, well,
They
If you've
fought.
seen some of the AI that's been generated for the Muppet episode that isn't from Paramount, it's actually pretty funny. Like, there's several that are on Instagram that are pretty hilarious. I'll have to send you
Well,
some.
yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing too, is they with Sora out, and I've been playing with Sora and stuff like that. You can go ahead and do Star Trek stuff with Sora. They haven't shut that down.
Okay,
And like
I'll have to check
I
that out.
made one that was Gene Wilder dressed up as the captain. All right, giving a poignant speech like Picard would have done. All right, but it's Gene Wilder giving the speech, so it was kind of fun. And there's no reason, because I've seen tons of people do stuff with the Muppets. There's no reason that people couldn't use Sora in order to put together really quick a Star Trek Strange New Worlds Sora. I mean, a Muppet, quick thing like that. It would be easy.
Oh yeah, well,
But
they did one
here's
for
the
the
thing.
original series, which was actually pretty funny. But I was
If you
going to tell
go,
you that. I'm sorry, what?
yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to go full Muppet, because Jessica and I, we were sitting around today at lunch, and we were having lunch, and we got into a very in-depth discussion of if you were redoing the Fifth Element with the Muppets, what Muppet would be what character in the Fifth Element? It was a very important discussion. And so that leads to the question, if you have Strange New Worlds with the Muppets, okay, Kermit, of course, is going to be Captain Pike. All right, but it's going to be weird seeing Kermit with the hair.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry, you were saying something and I went off on a tangent. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that actually one of the things that I saw on Sora, and I won't mention names because that could get me in trouble, but I will say that the thing was there's a person dressed as Captain Kirk. He obviously is much, much heavier set than Captain Kirk. He walks into the sick
Well, I
bay.
don't know. When you're talking about Shatner.
He's even heavier than Shatner. So he walks into the sick bay and goes, Bones, I need something for a headache. And so Bones comes over and picks up a mallet and whacks him upside the head and goes, there, how's that do you?
Should do the whole thing where he slams the mallet down on his hand. Does your head still hurt? Yeah, you're fixed. Go away.
But I was like, yeah, I'm not going to post that to anywhere, but I'll just say that I enjoyed it. Vicarious enjoyment. But yeah, I actually have seen some people take Sora and like go ahead and do like a scene that actually somebody had rendered and actually continue the scene. So they've taken like whatever was going on and just continued it on.
You can do that.
Yeah. And so I think actually that may be where some of the effects work goes for like some things in the background.
I forgot to ask you. I noticed, I think it dropped yesterday or today. The new Farragut movie.
Oh yeah, I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
I watched that. Well, I fast forwarded through it, went to the pretty ship scenes. See, that's what I do. I just go to the beauty shots of the ships and then fast forward through the talking.
Miranda.
Yeah, especially when I saw it was a Miranda class. I'm like, oh, watching this one. Matter of fact, I'm actually, for the 537 that I have, I'm already designing and putting together the shuttle bays. So I can have the shuttle bays inside the 537. It's going to be interesting. But anyways, tangent.
Are you going to do the
whoever
escape
is
pods?
doing what?
Are you going to do the escape pods that are like shown in the Wolf 359 special? Because
No.
the Saratoga has like the escape pods in the upper section of the landing bay. So
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing
that. That specialized. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say 537s. I only have like 2, I think. 537 Mirandas. I've got like one from the 90s, and I've got one which was the new release that they did, where they supposedly updated the molds, but we won't get into that anyway. What was my point? Yeah, whoever on that Farragut show, whoever is doing their digital effects, very well done. That is some very nice visual effects for the ships and stuff like that. I mean, it's almost disconcerting from how polished those effects are. And then the interior scenes, when you're actually dealing with the humans and stuff like that, it's almost jarring the quality level between one and the other. That and the fact that all almost all the people that are there are Trekkies like us, and so everybody in the scene is middle-aged and overweight. And I'm like, oh, okay, yes,
Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3, they weren't exactly thin either. So
I know, but they still had, ensigns that were thin. When your ensign is looking like he just came back from, a mission on Voyager, and Kim is still an ensign after 7 years. Yeah, that's kind of.
It's just because they had limited replicator rations. They
was he making torpedoes?
Them thin, and the rest of the crew got to eat well. So the ensign and the non-commissioned were like, "Hey, Mister, can I have a crumb?"
Can I have a pip? Can I have a pip? No, it was. I can't say anything. I mean, they're making the show. I mean, they're doing more than we've ever done when it comes to making new fan content, and bully for them. And they're doing all the hard work of putting everything together, and the editing and the filming and the costuming and set building. I mean, they really did some good set building and stuff. I was happy to see that the captain's chair in that was seriously bolted down. There was no captain's chair flying around in that one, because I look at stuff like that when they're going through, and I was like, okay, that's not an office chair on wheels. They fabbed somebody on their crew can weld. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, it's very well done. I wholeheartedly suggest to anybody who wants to watch some fan stuff, watch the new Farragut one. But once again, they go back in time. That's the reason it's called Farragut 2024.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Because they go back to 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. And
do they correct some sort of time problem that we are all living?
I'm not gonna ruin it for you. But I was gonna say that you can understand, when it comes from a filming and budgeting point of view, if you can film where, just walk outside and film, that's a whole lot cheaper than trying to build all the sets and everything.
Well, that's one of the reasons why in the Orville they went with some of the episodes they did where, I forget his name, but the pilot who essentially ends up going back in time through an accident. And
that was one episode.
Oh, he finds the girl of his dreams, and he lives his life, and it was like, this is the easy show. But I actually really love those episodes. I really did like the story, to be honest with you.
What I liked about that episode on the Orville is I liked it because even though they did do that, it was a simple, it was easy for them to film and stuff. Mm-hmm. They still, in true Trek fashion, had a moral lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which that's what Trek is. Trek is Greek tragedies and Greek stories told with pew-pews, and that's what I tell people. Yeah, and I tell people that Star Wars is samurai films, and
westerns.
Yeah, samurais and westerns. Depending on which, if they have special powers or not.
Yeah.
And then the Star Trek is classical Greek theater and Shakespearean kind of stuff. That's the reason. Hell, even in what was it, Undiscovered Country.
Mm-hmm.
The antagonist quotes Shakespeare because, I mean, that's they want to tell big, deep, thoughtful stories, and that's one of the problems too with Trek. Building up a fandom is the simple fact that a lot of people don't want to think deep.
And I would agree.
Yeah,
a lot of references are lost on people. Like I had to explain Moby Dick. I don't like Moby Dick. But I had to explain Moby Dick to somebody for Star Trek 2. And they were like, so that's where that comes from? I'm like, yeah. He's chasing his white whale. That's the whole point of the story. White whale.
Yeah.
And Kirk is
his proverbial
white whale.
The young guy that he basically kills, who's trying to steer him away, that's Ishmael, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He's the counterpoint to all of Ahab's problems, and Ahab doesn't listen to him. And this is what we talked about before a long time ago, which was if they wanted to do something in Star Trek 2, the only change I would make is make the character of Ishmael Joachim stronger against Khan and be like more resistant to Khan's, push. But that's academic.
Well, I agree. I agree if they wanted to go more, Moby Dick,
Yeah.
but if they were just taking the flavor, the fanaticism and that Ahab had, they did really good. And plus, I don't want anybody to overshadow Ricardo Montalban. No one can overshadow Ricardo
I
Montalban.
personally think Star Trek II is fine as is. I don't think
It's
there's
one of the
really
best.
any need to redo it. But at the same time,
Just like Empire Strikes Back
mhm,
is the best Star Wars. All right. The Wrath of Khan is the best Star Trek.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
They weren't the first in the series, and they weren't the last, but they were the best.
Yep, I agree. I think that the saddest part to a lot of the storytelling problems is, and this is the Xerox copy effect, and I don't think I really ranted about it a lot, but my problem with Hollywood is they take a story and the original version of it is clear and it's concise and has an idea of what they're trying to say. But when they duplicate it, and then they duplicate it again, and then they duplicate it again, they lose the thread. And I think that has happened a number of times with Star Trek, like with Star Trek Into Darkness. The whole Ahab element of Khan and Joachim was completely watered down. It really wasn't there. And it turned it into, well, he's not Khan, but oh, wait, he is, and like, I didn't need the, you got me thing. Just tell the story.
Well, there's that and the fact that they were relying too much on, the people watching it to know the story.
Mm-hmm.
And with, it was just poorly done. I'm sorry. It was just a poorly done thing, and they could have done so much better. And it's unfortunate that we're not going to get a Kelvinverse movie 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, but I'm okay with it. I mean, I liked it. It was more action, but there was a whole lot of problems with that Kelvinverse. I mean, the Kelvinverse was built for action, and that's about it. Yeah.
I think give it about 5 years. I think somebody will go into something like Sora, write their own script, and go, "Hey, take these characters, take these images," and then Paramount will go, "We're shutting you down."
Well, see, that's the thing. There's plenty of because things like the Sora that you go to now that's online that has guardrails to keep you from doing things like that. Keep you from utilizing intellectual properties or people and stuff like that. But once you start getting into some of the more freewheeling video models and stuff like that, and the fact that a lot of them are becoming so streamlined that you don't have to run them online, you can start running them on system. And I firmly believe what you're saying. In 5 years, you're going to be able to run in system something that you can do that with, and there will be no guardrails because you put it together and you did not put guardrails in it. And that's the reason I've heard, because how every generation has their own slang terms, and like now the kids are all saying 6'7" for no silly reason. It's just their version of dude. It's 6'7", and I can understand that because my version of dude is dude, and so if they want to dude in their own way, they can do their dude. But apparently, a new slang term coming up, the young kids, like the little kids in grade school and stuff like that, if something is sus, something is suspect, something they believe is not real, they call it AI. Oh, that's AI. That's AI, and then that is their crib term for that's a falsehood. That's not real.
I wonder if Uncanny Valley is going to drop in there somewhere. Just curious.
Well, it's already been there. It's already been there when we've been looking for 6 fingers, man. Yeah, we're looking for extra fingers and all this stuff like that on these things.
What
just
I mean
to
is
verify
like
as
like a slang term, like somebody saying it's Uncanny Valley or just rattling it off.
I don't think so. I think that's too highbrow, and the kids won't latch onto that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a thing. And now with the new robots that they're coming out with and all the stuff like that, it's definitely interesting times.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting times.
So we were talking about before last time how technology has changed and how things have moved on. And one of the things was in Star Trek Next Generation episode, actually, I wanted to bring this up, is that Worf causes the Ferengi to see that this thing that the Enterprise does, it fires a photon torpedo at the and makes it look like the Hathaway has been destroyed by a photon torpedo explosion. And then they have a Romulan ship or something come in, and it freaks the Ferengi out, and so they leave. And essentially, it's all done with computer, and essentially, you know, it's don't look over here or look over here, type of thing. And with the type of AI that by the time we get to the 23rd century, oh yeah, I could see that actually being a possibility where, they're actually talking about making, like, there was a TV show I was watching where it was Doctor Who. We're talking about making solid holograms, not like real solid, but, making where you can feel them. And that's future technology. So I can actually see
some kind of haptic feedback kind of thing.
Yeah. I could actually see them being able to project something that actually would read on sensors, and they'd be like, oh, damn, we're screwed. Let's get out of here.
In some of the sci-fi books that I've read, their crib term for that is hard light.
That's what they used in Doctor Who.
Yeah. They can make a hard light so that you can, it's not much, but so that you can feel that there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be stuff that we're gonna. That's one of the things that has always been the case when it comes to science fiction. Science fiction is not true looking glass into the future. Science fiction is what you think the future is, constrained to what you think technology is. It does not take into account that technology advances in ways that we will never foresee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you look at any sci-fi throughout, from Mary Shelley going forward, all the sci-fi is just a reflection of what is cutting edge at their time. And it's the same for us. And that's the reason, things are, I think here, we're going to see a whole lot of things dealing with AI coming up. It's just the thing. But the thing is I want to see more positive things with AI. Almost everything that I see with AI is all negative. Everybody is, they're going to take our jobs and, and destroy us and all this stuff like that. But hardly anybody ever looks at, if properly utilized, positive things from AI. And I think that's that's an undersold market right there, because I think AI is going to be good for us. I mean, if you look at it, if you look back in time, people, with trains, when trains were first coming out, oh my God, it's horrible. And, if you go over 50 miles an hour, it's going to rip your organs out and all kinds of stuff like that they thought. And it was first with trains, and then it was automobiles and airplanes and jets and, all the stuff like that. Every time that we have had a major, revolution in our technology, not just with transit, but when it comes to the bringing forward of, electricity. Oh my God. If you look back into the late 1800s, early 1900s, when electricity was first being run, some of the stuff was just, huge. Oh my God, the invisible waves is going to kill us all. It was just a whole lot of stuff. And I think that's going to happen. There's a knee-jerk reactionary. It's evil anytime we come up with something. But if properly harnessed, the things normally turn out to be not only benign, but really, a catalyst that have propelled us even further faster. And that's going to be one of the things with AI. Like, I have seen where, like, now they are coming out with one of the things that Google released with their Gemini 3 that they just came out with like 2-3 days ago was that they have new weather forecasting models that are more accurate than the old ones. They are more accurate further out, so the accuracy doesn't fall off a cliff. The accuracy stays good for several days out, and the rate that they're able to turn out new forecasts is like 8 times faster than what the old thing was. So they could, react to things and situations that they change and have new forecast models and better forecast models. And that's all coming through with the AI, but no one's talking about that good stuff.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with the development of AI, and I'm going to go ahead and speak from my own perspective, talking to people and actually, having looked at it and researched it, is that the gatekeeping element, I think, worries people, because gatekeeping in the sense of like the people who run or who are developing AI are not doing it altruistically. They're doing it for money.
No.
And they
always.
So the idea is that if they harness AI and other people don't have AI, it's like the guy who has the gun is able to tell the people who don't have the gun what to do. I think that's at least one part of it. But the other part of it is this is the thing I'm going to harp on some of the people I talk to. So this is a rant. Are afraid of things they don't understand and they cannot comprehend or don't want to try and comprehend. They are immediately afraid of anything that changes their status quo. We see it in our daily lives throughout everything. I mean, we're not even talking about AI. We're talking about everything now. So the problem is this fear-motivated concern, hey, I'm going to have something happen to me because of this. It's irrational. It's not. You're not taking a moment to think about, hey, well, what if I learned something about it? And then maybe I could apply this and figure out what's going on. It's, type of reaction. The thing is that stepping back from your emotional self and going, hey, why don't I learn something about it and find out what's going on? Find out about the world I live in instead of just reacting to it. That is a more adult and more responsible and ethical thing to do. And so I'm looking at you folks out there. You need to use your brains. They're there for a reason. I mean, put them to use. I mean, don't just sit there and, react to everything. AI could be a great tool. It could also be a tool for good or bad. So,
it's
like a gun,
tool. Yeah,
it's a tool. The gun,
well,
the gun is a tool.
It's not even like a gun because a gun has one purpose.
Well, true.
All right. All right.
But,
so I wouldn't compare it to a gun. I would say it is like, it's like a blacksmith shop. All right. You can make swords or, you can make pots and pans and needles and nails and everything that you need.
You can build a ship.
And build a ship, from the ground up. But that's what a lot of people don't realize is, and some of the, people out there who are reticent about the AI and stuff like that, is literally they have made it at the basic level. They've made it free to everybody. All right. It's free to utilize. And if you don't know where to start learning how to utilize it, ask it where to start.
Yeah.
And it will walk you through everything. It is not, because a lot of people, they don't think it is like, using Google or a search engine or something like that, where, you have to ask it a specific question in order to get a specific answer. But generally, with a lot of especially the newer, GTP 5.1 and Gemini 3.0, if you just have a normal conversation with it, tell it what your goals are, not only will it help you understand it, but it will build a concise learning plan and walk you through. And if there's anything that stumps you, just say, hey, this stumps me, explain it better. And it has no problems. It has no problems going over things again and again and again and changing how things are and simplifying things. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get irritated. It will work with you as much as you want it to work with you. It doesn't care. And it wants to please you. So, matter of fact, that's one of the things I had to tell it is I had to tell it, stop being such a damn ass kiss, dude. I hate it. And
there's actually some prompts I've had to do because of that. I think the major problem, and this is one of my soapboxes, is that in our society, a lot of people, not just corporate America, but a lot of people have learned helplessness
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, it gets people to not use their brains, so they're willing to, you know, hand over the keys to for whatever reason. Hey, I'm
They
scared of
want
this.
you
Here's the keys.
complacent.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, they want you complacent.
There you go. That's what I was going to hit on. They want you to
Yeah,
just roll over and do whatever they want you to do, and
yeah,
they're depending on your helplessness. So this goes back to if you want to do something, learn about your world, learn about tools, learn about how they work. You know, electronics isn't that hard to figure out. I mean, basically, most of it's just, you know, like a light bulb. You start with the on and off button. What does it do? It turns it on, turns it off, and you go from there. I mean, that's
Mhm.
really how you learn things. Um, it's called, and this is where I chime about enlightened self interest. You want to know something, you want to learn something, learn it. Don't sit there and be afraid of it. It's not like do anything for you if you're just afraid of it all the time. And in the end run, the AI as a tool has the ability to do things that we have never been able to do in parallel by just simply you can take one AI and duplicate it, duplicate it, and duplicate it, and duplicate it. And this can actually run these computations and things. We want to develop drugs. You want to get rid of cancer? Hey, there you go. Let's work on cancer. Hey, you want to go ahead and figure out how to develop a warp drive? Let's go ahead and do it. There you go. And
you don't
pump it
even
out.
have to go that deep. I mean, it's with these new models that they have out, like literally, and I've played around with it, and it does. You can do a single prompt execution where you just like say, I am, I'm starting to work out. Create for me an app for my phone that will track my push-ups that I'm doing every day. And it will, just off of that one prompt, it will make an app that you can run on your phone. And if you don't like the way something is on it, you're like, I don't like, I want this over here, I want this over there, or I want the color changed, or, I want you to include this or take this out. You just tell it that, and it will automatically change it. And literally, it will put together this app in 20, 30 seconds. And I've done it, and it works just fine. And so don't think that you can only use it for big things. You can use it for whatever the hell you want.
Sure.
If you want an app on your phone that will, just convert, standard measurements to metric measurements for me whenever I enter in what it is. Boom, done. Just whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Gen X person speaking up here, the whole thing you were talking about, you want it in a different color, reminded me of Fight Club. Can I get cornflower blue?
Although that is a true thing. Apparently I don't know if they've worked on it, but I know like this past year, it's been a thing that one of the ways that you could tell something was generated by AI is there's a certain color that AI likes to use.
Oh, really?
It's like a pinkish purple color.
That
And
makes
so it
sense.
uses that as a highlight on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That actually kind of makes sense because I've been noticing that color shift myself when I've been
Mhm.
noticing artwork, and I've been like, well, it's kind of an odd sort of thing to see because I often will look at movies and I can sort of quantify. Friends will be like, when was this movie out? And it'll be a sci-fi movie. It'll be like, well, show it to me, and it'll be like, oh, it's the 90s. They're like, how do you know that? It's because it's blue.
Yeah.
Because the tonal quality, like Terminator 2, Time Cop, and a lot of them were blue. And then later on they shift to other stuff. But it's like little things that like catching in AI. That's one of them. The other thing is like earlier AI was like, how many fingers do I have? Well, I have 10 on this one hand. Well, it's supposed to be 5 on each hand, not 10 on one hand. But okay.
Well, awesome. And see, that's one of the things is it was just, what was it, 3 years ago when they were coming out with the first video models. One of the first videos that people were like, okay, this is our benchmark, was Will Smith eating spaghetti. All right. That's all it was, just Will Smith eating spaghetti. And that first video that came out was just some amorphous monstrosity. His mouth and the spoon and the fork became one. It was just weird. But now, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And it's only been 3 years. Yeah, you give it another 5 years, whole movies are going to be done. Matter of fact, there's already been several movies now that are using AI assets for fill stuff.
Mhm.
All right. They're
And that's what
using
I was
that.
talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Because
so
what I think,
there's,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
We cut you off.
I was going to say, so I mean, it's already happening. It's already happening in the background. And as it becomes more prevalent, we're just going to see more and more until it's just a taken for granted kind of thing where it's
I
just
think
AI.
I think what's going to happen with AI, at least in terms of special effects, is they may still do the foreground or whatever in foreground, whether they build the model or they have the AI build the model. But I think
Yeah. Green
the
screen, whatever.
compositing, whatever's going on back here, is going to be AI generated because it's easier to pipeline that in the background and then put the foreground action up here and have the background just be whatever AI generated because it's our focus point is here in the front, not in the back. So
Mm-hmm.
just logically, I could see that very easily happening, and since it's already happening, I'm not really surprised. The other thing is that I think our computer technology is going to change leaps and bounds here very shortly. Google apparently came up with a chip, and this is how important this is, folks. So Google came out with a chip that basically does what David Deutsch was talking about. David Deutsch is a guy who was a physicist who works on quantum computers. Okay, so his theoretical model that he worked with, and he's worked on this for a while. And this book was written back in like 97 or 98. It was called The Fabric of Reality. So if you guys want to check it out, it's a great book to read. But he postulates that if you take a globe, basically a basketball globe size of purified water, and ionize it, you can form memory chains inside the water and have access to alternate domains of space time. What that means in English is that you're borrowing electrons and computational values from other domains, just like yours, other universes, and you're essentially using the computational power of other universes sitting side by side with yours. What Google managed to do is get that in a chip, essentially. And so it's no longer we have to use a basketball globe sized, thing of
Yeah.
water. We can do it on a
They've
chip.
shrunk down the quantum computing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at the
Yeah.
current rate, that was in 1997 when that book came out. We're at 2025. So can you imagine what it'll be like in 20, 30, 40 years? I mean, people really need to understand. I wouldn't say they need to get comfortable, but they need to take themselves out of the emotional equation. Think and sort of just calmly sort of start learning about things and stop reacting to things. Because the media pipeline will always be push your button, let's get you to react because that's how they get
bleeds,
hit.
it leads.
That's the best I can offer is learn, please learn. For God's sake, learn. I will stress that.
All right. Well, this has a lot to do with Star Trek.
Uh-huh.
We've gone on tangents again. But we are at an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and seal this up so I can get out there and help the wife do wife things.
Whatever she needs, wifey done.
Yeah, help her redo her bandage that she put on.
Okay.
All right, but in that case, we will talk to everybody again later. Ciao.
Ciao.